Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 98 of the OG Technically Trek. I am your humble host, Dave Prime, filling in for Captain Katie again this week because she's off doing things on an away mission of some sort. So, President Travis is filling in for us tonight. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty great because the snow and the weather stuff has starting to feel right where we live at and stuff and everything. Yesterday we reached 60 degrees, which I
Woo!
can't convert into Celsius right now. I can't think of it. But it was very warm. It was very warm to the point where things were melting very fast and the runoff was actually playing tricks and stuff and everything. But for the first time in about almost 3.5 weeks and so, we have felt a relief from this winter craziness and stuff. I felt like I wasn't living in the Arctic or like Antarctica. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster here in the Springs as well, but I mean, it's kind of been relatively. I mean, it's been freezing, like below freezing when the day starts, but by the time afternoon hits about 11, 12 o'clock, it's in the 50s, low 60s too here. But
Yeah.
yeah, saying, but the long range prognostications, wow, I said that word right on my first try. Yay!
Good job. Good
They're,
job.
well, because we are desperately behind snowpack for the season, but they're saying mid late March there could be like a significant snow event, which for Colorado that's normal. But
Yeah.
say so just
Yeah.
gotta prepare for it and be good to go. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so we're just like 2 weeks away from 100 episodes of doing this iteration of my
Yeah.
podcast. We started about 4 years ago, I want to say, like, but even before season three of Picard, we started doing this on Twitter Spaces,
Yeah. Twitter
and
spaces and
just
stuff. Yeah.
look how far we've come. We could use more subscribers,
Absolutely.
so click that like and subscribe button so we can get more people involved. Share it with your friends. Yeah, and we got links down below. We got a Discord up and going, so you can get some behind the scenes juice and whatnot and meet. One thing I'd like to do with my Discord, with our Discord, is to actually kind of emulate some of the things some other podcasts have done. Is like a mailbag, just like, hey, what did you like about this episode? What did you not like about this episode? Just kind of like get more involvement for those people that might not be able to pop in live and share with us what they
Mhm.
liked about the episode. So that gives them an opportunity to be involved. But that's the one thing
Absolutely.
that makes our podcast unique is because we do encourage and welcome live participation with our viewers, either on camera, in the YouTube chat, or on audio if you're feeling a little camera shy. So, but yeah, click all those links down below in the YouTube description and then get hooked up, get involved. But before we say anything else, I still got a couple months before my 2 years of sobriety, so that's going to be an emotional episode. But go Hawks! My Seahawks won the Super Bowl on Sunday.
I
And
knew he
say,
was going to do something like that.
well, it's only well the team's been around for 50 years, and this was their fourth appearance in the Super Bowl, and it's over the last 20 years. We won't talk about Super Bowl 40. That was just a hot mess of
You mean
insanity.
Super Bowl 49? That was Super Bowl 49.
Well, no, Super
Was
Bowl 40. That was when we
Oh
first
yeah, yeah,
played
yeah. Super Bowl
with the
40. Yeah, yeah.
Steelers.
That's when. Yeah, yeah. Some Steelers. I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see,
I
I
mean,
was on I was on the local one of the local news stations in Seattle. See, that's again that's another story, but yeah, I had a lot of fun,
yeah.
even though we lost because of bad officiating. Say bad call taken in Super Bowl 49, but Super Bowl 48 we won our first. Sunday we won our second. Some people say it's a redemption against the Patriots, but it's two completely disparate teams. So it's like a whole lot of
And you know what?
apples to oranges.
I'm a Patriot and a Patriots fan, Patriot Nation and stuff and everything else. I had high hopes for my Patriots and stuff, but seeing which way the tea was blowing, I should say the wind was blowing and stuff. Even I was kind of doubtful. I was hoping for the best, but I didn't watch all of the Super Bowl because after the first quarter, I kind of turned because I was like, I mean, maybe I click back on and see whether or not, but I watched the halftime show. I mean, let's talk about that. But I watched the halftime show, but at a certain point, I just gave up. I was like, I love you guys and all and everything. Maybe this wasn't your year. Y'all still trying to rebuild and stuff and everything else. But I mean, kudos to the Seahawks. I give it to y'all and everything. I'm not gonna be a spoiled brat and everything else and stuff. I mean, you guys, you were the better team.
Mm.
Y'all won fair and square, and everybody for the most part, understand that. You know, I mean, the better team won. You
Mm.
know, it
It,
comes
it
down to
it
that.
it it was a highly defensive game on both sides of the ball. So I mean that, but they say defense
Yes,
is
Jim.
what wins championships, and yeah, yeah. Travis got an unhealthy amount of comm badges. That's the one for this week. He'll probably have another one for next week, and then a different one for the week after that.
I have a
Um,
very variety of some of the most iconic ones that you have seen throughout the shows and stuff and everything. You know.
yeah, the only reason why I watch the Super Bowl is because my Seahawks.
Also,
It-
too, real quick before we get into the women, uh, the Olympics started
mm,
Friday. So anybody who's listening, both U.S. or international or Canada and stuff and everything else, cheer your team on, enjoy yourself, watch some good old Olympics and stuff and everything. See, like some of the events that's happening and everything. One of my favorite events that I like watching with the Winter Olympics and stuff is the curling. I like
mm.
watching curling and stuff where you have the sweepers. This goes all the way back to like the '90s when we started watching the Winter Olympics stuff. Curling has always been one of my favorite and everything, even though it's kind of like an odd sport, but it's still so fun to watch. Just to see them, on the ice, and they take that and you got to sweep and do that. It's just so it's so fun. It's so funny to watch curling and stuff and everything. Live long
Hey,
and prosper.
Brittany.
But yeah, go out. Watch. I mean, watch the Olympics. Cheer your team on. Team USA, Team Canada for our friend Phil and the people. I want to give a real shout out to Phil. He said he might be here. He might not. And everything. Some tragedy happened up in Canada that I did not know about, but I heard about it just this evening and stuff and everything else. There was a shooting up in British Columbia. It was just sad. And,
And there's another
I
one in
believe they were
Quebec.
in Quebec and stuff and everything else. And our heart goes out to, you know, the victims and stuff and everything else. And I appreciate Phil for, filling me in on that and stuff and everything. Here in the US, we don't get much of the news like that. We do get international, but like, I mean, it's very selective of what kind of like tragedy news that we get our way and everything else and stuff and everything. But it's sad Canada doesn't have, a lot of like what we experience here in the US with shootings and stuff and everything else. So I just want to, give my sincere, thoughts and sympathy to the, victims of these mass tragedies.
Yeah, so it's not just in America that it happens all over the world, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
life sucks sometimes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, saying
Thank you, Jim.
yeah, Jim Dillon saw your little comments about my sobriety. I'm only at 21 months, so I still got like another 3 months and an odd number of days, but I'm going to be hitting 650 at the end of this month. So one day at a time. As much as I'm not a big fan of that saying when it comes to sobriety, but it truly is what it is, one day at a time. But so instead of drinking alcohol, I drink Dubby. Not all the time, but Dubby's a great energy drink. They are our streaming partner. They do have a bunch of great products that help get that jump that you need if you're grinding through that final level, if you're cramming for an exam, if you just need that energy boost without the crash that a lot of energy drinks give you. W is a great product to go with. They got a lot of great flavors. They got like big energy tiers, Galaxy Grenade, S'mores for a limited time. We'll say once their stock is out of that, it's gone for forever, maybe indefinitely at least. But with unlike some other energy drinks, when you mix it with water, you just mix that one with milk. So it definitely gives that graham chocolatey flavor. That's one of the flavors I have behind me that I'm using it less and less, knowing that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get another box of that anytime soon. But say you, the viewers, you can get that yourself. And if I get it the right thing here, we have a new discount code. And say Warp Me. Go to w.gd and type in Warp Me. You get 10% off any non-bundled products. So I mean, they do have some specialty products where there's licensing restrictions. It's like, yeah, we'll do it, but you can't give a deal on it. So it's like the solo leveling flavors, the Chainsaw Man flavors, but they got a lot of other great products. And they, like I said, this is my favorite tumbler. He's my future ex-boyfriend. But yeah, we have got over 2 dozen people just chomping at the bit watching this. So let's talk about the series Acclimation Mill, as Vala Maldoran would say in another sci-fi franchise. This episode was packed full of jam. And see, there was just so many Easter eggs in this one. I don't think I could still keep up with them all. But hopefully, people will chime in the chats and saying there's been a lot of talk about it. Saying the one of the first things I noticed that I honestly was not a big fan of is like all the little scribblings and the doodling and things like that.
Yeah.
That seem for me personally, that seemed just a little beneath Star Trek. But I've said it from the first episode. You got to remember that this is kind of geared and targeted towards like the late teen, early 20 audience to try and get them hooked into Star Trek if they've
People who
hooked
were
up
born in within the last 25 years, in the
or
last
less.
25
Yeah.
years and stuff and everything else. It wasn't any of us who was born in the, you know, way back,
Berman era.
way back yonder and stuff and everything else who are familiar with the older Star Trek and everything. We're not the target demographic of, especially this episode or this series and stuff. But some of us, older people do enjoy it.
Hmm. And just trying to catch all the Easter eggs from this episode is just
Oh, it's
crazy.
a lot.
But did you catch the gay Kelpian at the beginning of the episode?
The gay what?
Kelpian.
The gay Kelpian? No, I did not even. There was no
Well,
mention of
I
that. I did
I
not even catch that.
I might be just typecasting, but just the because there was a Kelpian in the background. He just kind of like just very in a very gay like Oliver Klimt and all that when Sam's like
almost,
doing her little
almost like a
saunter.
Jack McFarlane, almost a Jack McFarlane type
Yes,
of thing from Will and
yes,
Grace. Okay,
yeah,
hush
very
my
very
pearls, why
Jack.
don't you?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what. That's why I called him the gay Kelpian. But
Okay,
yeah,
I did not
we
catch
get
that.
to find out that Sam's actual age is a just a little over 6 months old, 217 days, and she's been there at the academy for just a little over half that at well, not even half that at 97 days. So she is still a baby. So I mean, it definitely kind of like I said, there's just a lot of if I was the camera guy, I'd probably be getting a little motion sick with a lot of the jumping and the editing and all that. Just it was a little much for me to handle, but I mean, I just went with it. And say,
Yeah.
what were your some of your thoughts about the very beginning of the episode?
Because I watch Trek Culture. If anybody don't know, it's the guy he does, ups and down on his channel and stuff. If you go take a
Hmm.
look at it, stuff like that. I watch Trek Culture and stuff to see what I missed that I didn't, catch and stuff and everything else. And he pretty much, had an interesting take on it. And I was like, that's kind of how I felt, when it first started out and everything, it was like, okay, it's going to be one of those type of something. And like you said, Dave, you know, I was I try to hold back any of like judgment until I complete the episode. But I could
Hmm.
see that I was like this to me it didn't seem like a Star Trek feel type of episode, and I was like,
At least at the
so this
beginning.
how it's go. It started out like okay, where's this gonna go at and everything? Because they had those little like highlight things, stuff like that. And it's going to be a sand base, heavily sand based and stuff. But we did get a small B plot, in the quarter way into the episode and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
um,
it's been yeah, Jake. Like last
yeah.
week's episode was like very, very Star Trek, but this week,
It,
honestly, at the beginning of the
it's
episode when I went, no, go ahead.
go ahead. No, no. What did you can say?
No, Jake, because I watched it Thursday evening, and then I jumped right into Strange New Pod, and and one of the comments that I made on it was that after a strong episode on episode 4, I felt like it was regressing again.
Hmm. And that's the thing too. I mean, they're still trying to find their foothold and their footing with
Hmm.
with Starfleet academies and stuff. And like you said, people like you and me, we're not the target demographic, but some of us can appreciate it because the appeals of it is for a much, like I said, anywhere between people who were born in the last 20 to 25 years and stuff and
Hmm.
everything else. And it has that feel where you see that everything is, almost similar to what you would see in a I hate to put it like this, but Sean Fair he even said it like this. He said it kind of reminded him of a uh iCarly like type of
Mm.
it's when a type of
Yes.
iCarly.
Yeah, because
That's
yeah,
how he put it.
those yeah, because they always had those little animated Lindsay Lohan bits in the middle and just
Yeah.
randomly. It's like yes. And say
And that's what
that's one thing I have been like in previous when we were doing breakdowns for Strange New Worlds when we've done breakdowns on Lower Decks. I've always watched the Trek Culture's ups and downs on the episode before
Mhm.
going live for this, and for whatever reason, I haven't been able to do it here. And I had plenty of time today to do it even, but
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just kind of putzing around. I made some soup, and
Well,
so
I mean, let's talk about
I might go off camera to eat some of that between
let's talk about that because some
discussions.
people probably don't probably aware of that what's that Tawny was it Tawny Newsom
Hmm.
who was a guest star in here, along with Sarah Lofton, who played the Jake Sisko,
Hmm.
throughout the entire series run of Deep Space Nine. Um, they collaborated back and forth, and according to what I read, that they was going to give him almost producer credits. Like Sarah, I think gonna give him producer credits for this particular episode and stuff and everything. But they didn't. But they would. It was them two going back and forth with the ideas on because Tawny Newsom is a huge Star Trek fan herself and everything else,
Hmm.
and she was heavy in getting this type of episode because she was a fan of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine and
Well,
stuff.
no, and she's one of the producers on the series itself, so this is just not a
Yeah.
one-off thing. It's saying she's now working. Spoiler alert: she plays Ilya Dax in this episode, but she's been behind the scenes, uh, behind the cameras, producing it and putting things together. And but of course, she co-wrote this with my Kristen Bayer, who's written a lot of like
Yeah.
great Star Trek novels, Picard novels especially.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know what?
Or did I
To
say her
see
last name right?
I believe you did. I believe you did.
Bayer
Uh,
Meyer.
um, but the thing about that is too, before we really when we were talking about the whole everything like the Easter eggs and stuff and everything else, but when you get into bringing veterans back into like some like people who you never seen for me and you, it's been almost it was 1999 when D Space Nine went off the air,
Yeah,
and it's 2026. That
yeah, so
was,
27
you know,
years.
and you look back and you be like, wow, and then seeing, Sarah, he has his own channel here. He's got what's that, the seventh rule that he started with Aaron Eisenberg. Unfortunately, he passed away in September of
20,
2019. And then that same year in December,
Renee
Renee,
Armstrong.
he passed away, in December, early at the beginning of early December and stuff. So it's sad that we lost some pretty you know good actors and people who came from Star Trek veterans and stuff and everything else. But to see how their legacy lives on and stuff and everything else, and seeing Sarah come back, playing, I can't say for the last time we see him in the sense of being in that character and stuff, being Jake Sisko and stuff. But it was really nice, to see how the story is told. Like a few episodes, like so, a couple of weeks ago, we had a guest in here. His name was Lou, and he mentioned too, like after the whole Deep Space Nine and Enterprise went, there was, there could have been a way of telling what happened. Like there was an open field of like you know there was so much more that they could have explored, and Paramount could explore on the Star Trek side when it comes to, they could have done so much, especially with Deep Space Nine and stuff and everything else, Of course, things at that time in the 2000s, stuff like that, a lot of people felt that it was a kind of, some say dying franchise, but some say it was, nobody was interested in stuff until, J.J. Abrams came back and had his, version of Star Trek movies and stuff. But all in all, um, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
until
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Until
Until
now.
now,
Mhm.
yeah. But in this particular episode where we got to see almost 800 years where we left off of what Deep Space Nine, what happened to the folks of Deep Space Nine in the what 24th 25th century, 20 late 20 in the latter half 24th century into the 25th century and stuff.
Mhm.
For like what happened, things, also too, they said this a little continuity too that um the Jake Cisco we saw, uh that message or whatever it is, the hologram or whatever, took place at least 7 years after Star Trek season three Picard.
Yeah, 2408, I think is what Memory Alpha was saying that it was and I actually think the graphic was saying that as
Yeah,
well as for 2408. So,
yeah, yeah. So it was
and
pretty. It was pretty. It was pretty.
it's kind of interesting though that Sarakami, as he's gotten older, he's done the shave head with the facial
Mhm.
hair, which it looks a lot like Avery Brooks in the later
It,
seasons of DS9 as well. And he
oh yeah.
does look
Oh
like a
yeah.
spitting image of Avery.
It really. It's like he has really grown. How did Shaw Farrick said on old Trek Culture? He said Serac has aged just like fine wine. He's a fine looking man, and he aged just like wine and stuff. It's something like that. I'm just paraphrasing and stuff, but Shaw said it.
I'm gonna have to. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that one then, just to so I can chuckle at that.
Oh,
Which, by
but
the way, speaking of chuckling, Zaid, if you guys didn't watch the Super Bowl, Zaid, there is one commercial in particular you absolutely need to see. And for what I'm going through, it's definitely something that I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to talk to my doctor about it when I see her next week. Is relax. It's a blood test. It's a it has a whole bunch of it's about colon cancer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just like colon cancer Super Bowl commercial. You'll thank me later. It's been edited because they don't say relax your tight end. They say the other three-letter word for the posterior. But that commercial when I
Thinking
saw
about that.
that I was hooting and hollering at it.
But speaking about that too, real quick, I didn't say this at the beginning of the show and stuff and everything else. We just lost actor. He was just a year older than myself and everything else. James Vanderbeek. I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but he was Dawson's Creek. He was starred in Varsity Blues. Um, there was a movie that he did with I think in Summerholder and stuff. It was called Rules of Attraction. He was really good in that. I mean, he
Mm.
was a psycho, but he was really good in that and stuff.
Yeah.
But he passed away today. You know, he had 6 kids. He passed away of, you know, colon cancer and stuff and everything. He was diagnosed what about some years ago, a few years ago or so, about 3 years
And
ago.
they came public with it back in 2024. So
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a while, but he died of colon cancer for today and stuff and everything. I just want to, you know, to extend my, you know, deepest sympathy to his family and stuff and everything else. But you know, I mean, it's sad, you know, 48-year-old man died of colon cancer.
but yeah, back to the episode that at the very beginning when Sam's doing her big monologue, we see her playing with a theremin. Don't see that every day. Don't hear that every
No,
day.
no, you don't. No, you do not. No, you do not.
And there's
Go ahead.
and she's playing it again at the end of the episode. We'll talk about that at the end of the episode. I don't know if you caught on to what she was playing, but yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, like I said, we'll talk about that later. But like again, it's like college rivalries, like the war college and the academy. The same. Mir got put down that little laser thing to put the middle of the atrium. Say that's your side.
um,
This is our
but
side. And then Jet just like
man,
you just picks it up and walks off with it.
I don't
And
know
we
how the
just
people are getting is getting over this, you know, little, you know, tit for tat between the war college and the academies and stuff. But it's cool. There's going to always be like Sean Ferrick. He said he thought they settled it. He's like it's becoming redundant that they keep on like having this, you know. I'm thinking, you know what? There's going to be some rivalry. There's going to be some tension. They're going to keep this up in a sense because you know they you know some of these people have egos, you know, and of course one of them is a Vulcan and stuff, another one is a
which that's
Romulan.
still yeah, that the Vulcan with the ego, I'm still kind of like, what the heck? Well, then again, thinking about it, say when Tuvok was younger, he was a bit of a arrogant hothead too. So maybe that's where they got
Yeah.
the idea. I don't know, but maybe because it's a teen dramedy, or they're taking some of that on
You
there
know
as
what,
well.
like we said too, it's not the type of Star Trek that we are accustomed to and stuff and everything. It's, you know, they showing like, you know, the daily life of, you know, of teenagers and 20-year-olds in the future of, you know, Starfleet Academy. That's right. Like and subscribe. Join us too, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, because yeah, we don't. This is gonna be a long episode if it's just gonna be me and Travis talking. So we'd love to hear some of your all rest of your lovely voices on your thoughts as we kind of go along, kind of back and forth on the timeline from the episode.
Mhm,
Say Dylan
absolutely.
looks like he had something pretty good here. Probably wants to theremin because it looks. Well,
Hmm.
that would be cool. That would be fun to see. But of
Yes,
course, like a lot of
absolutely.
people don't realize, say Jerry Goldsmith used the theremin when composing the motion picture soundtrack. So
Right, right. And Jim, yes, Spock's dad. You're right about that too. Yep.
yeah,
You're right. You're right about that. Oh
but I
yes.
mean, say yeah, like Sarek though. I mean, uh, yeah, he was owning the what's the word I'm trying to think of? Owning the arrogance. He's like sounding arrogant without being arrogant at the same time.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
able to
yeah,
he was able to dial it in just the right amount by not sounding like a complete dickwad.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's
but
Vulcans for you, you know.
but yeah,
And it's really good.
well, as Eric got older, he kind of realized a lot of the errors in his ways. Is and with at the end of Star Trek 4, he without saying that he was sorry, he was apologizing, saying that he was against Spock joining the Academy or joining Starfleet, and he's like, was, I think I was wrong in that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sorry, just trying to
Right.
I have my seat a little higher than I normally do, so I'm just trying to get that right sweet spot position with my bad hips and all that. Yay, getting old. Um, but
The rivalry thing too in this, it kind of shows that Jaden and
mhm,
what's the other fellow name? Jaden
Kyle
and Kyle. They're
from the War
it's like
College.
they be he's from the war college. They seem like they're not really into that whole rivalry thing and stuff.
Mhm,
But we didn't talk about this. We forgot to mention this when when Sam basically she wanted to investigate, the whereabouts of Benjamin Sisko. Like what
mhm.
happened to Benjamin Sisko? And when they were sitting in the quarters and stuff, and they was talking about it, she gave as they say, an exposition about like that whole little Bajoran cheerleading book and stuff. And uh, what's the Betazoids? Oh shoot,
Um,
um,
Tamira,
oh shoot, yeah. Um, He
Mr.
said that
Mr.
he said I joined Occam. No, it was Occam. He said I joined the Betazoid Club. And he basically said, you can come and talk to the Bajorans and stuff and everything else. Yes, there's a lot of jokey stuff in here and a lot of things because Sam is a photonic and she don't understand, what social graces are and stuff and everything else.
Oh yeah,
When
she has
one of the
zero
cadets
zero
grabbed,
fit.
yeah, when one of the cadets grabbed, for her to her ear and stuff, and then she reached back and
Oh, I thought that's
it
what you're
was like
supposed to do.
I was like, oh my goodness. He was like, discussing the pod, and then you know, Bajorans they meditate and stuff and everything, and basically she just straight up without understanding, like I said, social graces and their custom stuff. She just basically asked, you know, what Cisco? She said something about what happened to Cisco when he died, or something about he's dead because somehow they don't believe they never believed that he died. He transcended, as they say, he transcended. From in like Stargate. If you ever seen Stargate, there's a thing where you transcend
Descent.
into you shed your physical form and you exist in a pure energy state and everything else. You have a greater knowledge of the universe as a whole and stuff and everything else. Somehow something like that happened to Cisco with the help of uh prophets, or as we call us, people who are non-Bajoran, we call them the wormhole aliens and stuff. And
Uh,
that moment where, she just blurted out and said,
Yeah, so his spell check changed as Sarek to safekeeping. So
yes, yes. And when she got sent to the chancellor's office and stuff and everything else, even Sean said, don't punishment ever happen to anybody. Like if you were in school and something like that happened, you would find yourself being punished. But nobody seemed to get punished at Starfleet Academy for doing something and everything. And the chancellor just seemed to kind of like take things that they do nonchalantly and stuff and everything. It's like, she was trying to help Sam to understand because she said she spent time on, um
Bajor.
Bajor and stuff. And at a certain point too, and and Sean really pointed this out too, how we didn't never get to see, we saw outlines of Cisco. We never saw his face or anything. A certain point that the Bajorans, and it's really good in the context and stuff and everything else. And I mean, like he said, I'm not bashing anybody's religion or saying anything about reading back, but he said he got the feel that it's almost like how Muslims view Muhammad when it comes to like Cisco, when the Bajorans view Cisco, like there's no images of him on Bajor or anything. There's no pictures and stuff. There's like silhouettes and stuff, but yet the face, his face and stuff. they don't see him in the face and stuff and everything. That's why we never see him in this and stuff because before the Bajorans, he was something like Muslims here on Earth revere Muhammad. It's like there's no you never see an image or no depiction or anything and stuff, no description and stuff. You know, so Sean really pointed that out and everything, and I was kind of thinking the same thing when I was watching this, and I was thinking, wow, that the Bajorans really elevated him into this in somewhat because his mother was Sarah Cisco, but she was possessed. I hate to use the word possessed by a
That's-
prophet, and his life was predetermined in certain ways and stuff and everything else, and he exists in the celestial temples for the Bajorans and stuff like that. They listed him in this episode. They gave us a really interesting uh way of saying that Starfleet has declared him, even to that day in the future, 800 years later, he's MIA.
mhm.
He's not dead, but
Yeah,
Caleb, but
they
Caleb
never
was the
they,
and you know what? Caleb was the only one that said, "Oh, he's dead." Oh yeah, yeah. He was the most cynical one. He said, "No, he's dead. It's been 800 years. He's not this and that and everything. And he died long ago and stuff and everything else. And he was the most. He basically was said what people saying out loud is like, where's he at? He's never came back or anything. He's in the celestial temple or something like that. They exist outside of time and space and stuff, and it was an interesting, hearing people's thoughts and stuff about that, about him being an emissary. Yeah,
yeah, but as it turns out, that emissary was actually put sent forward in time to remind Cisco that he's the emissary.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then they actually Cisco asked him to send him back in time to the time that he left and stuff and everything because it was the only way to basically have him to fulfill to live out his life that he knew of instead of living in the future and stuff. That was a different emissary and stuff and everything. But all in all, this really gave some interesting context to what we seeing and how they explain a lot of things. Like Cisco is still MIA, as they say, Captain Cisco is MIA. They don't show his face. They never showed his face in the series or anything like that. The Bajorans revere him, as like a god, and stuff. He he had Jake Sisko went on to have kids of his own. Did you see the little uh tree they pointed out? Sean Fair, they really did a little thing they pointed out, and there were some errors that they put on there. They referred to his mother as being non-corporeal, and then something about Sarah, but they misspell her name and something like that.
Mm.
It was so wild. Sean now did
Well,
some really in-depth errors or them pointing out on, yeah, that Cisco family tree is inaccurate. There was a lot of
yeah,
inaccuracy and stuff and everything.
yeah, I've read in other posts on other groups and other channels that they've said the same thing. But one thing, I think it was Jorg Hillenbrand that looked and saw that the two of the children or of I think two of Jake's children or somewhere along that side of the family tree are the real life names of Avery Brooks's two kids.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those. It's like someone had to really be paying attention. It's a blink or you miss it because it was on the Cisco's Creole Kitchen graphic in the museum.
Okay, okay. Oh, okay, that's pretty neat.
Mm.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I
that's
got
just
it.
like, uh, uh, that's pretty neat to know that. And yes, they
But
they did they did have a child. I don't know if they mentioned the sex of the baby. Did they
I
ever
don't think
mention the
they.
sex of the baby?
I I think it was supposed to have been a daughter actually.
That's kind of what I thought, but I never really heard, what the
Couldn't
sex of the
remember if it's
baby.
alpha candidate or beta candidate, but I think the gender was daughter.
Yeah,
But I know
yeah,
Beta Canon. It was definitely in the novels. It was he definitely had a daughter, but
mm, yeah.
obvious,
That's pretty, that was a little puzzle to
but
me.
it had to
You
be
know.
a boy for the Cisco line to. Well, then again, yeah, Jake too kind of propagated and had kids of his own.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
kind of backtracking on the episode when they were talking about doing things, and then they were doing really heavy on the scribblings and stuff with Caleb just kind of leaning up against the railing, sucking on a jumjo stick,
Ah, yeah.
and talking about like sex and whatnot, saying that she was like increased blood flow, talking about increased blood flow to like the face and other regions, and as it kind of pointed down to the crotch, and it crossed off face, and you could clearly say that it said penis.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
had to go back and rewind that a couple of times. Is that? It's like holy crap! It does say penis, and when it says other regions, I just
You know when Sam was trying to do her research too on Cisco and stuff, she made food, Creole
Mhm.
food and stuff and everything else. She couldn't. She said that she can't. She can't experience the joy of what food and stuff like that tastes like because
Mhm.
she's a photonic and organics,
Yeah.
need and stuff and everything else. This is the first time we got what's that? Kylo was it Kylonians?
Mhm.
Um,
They barf glitter
they barf glitter. If they
if they
eat
eat
like what's it,
bananas.
bananas, if they eat bananas stuff and everything else, it's like, oh my goodness, he barfed glitter. He would be great at parties or
Oh
something.
yeah.
you know, that's crazy. It's like, oh, this show is a little wild. I mean, it's just a little wild. It's like even Sean was like, that's a new one for me, because
Mm.
usually biological human beings don't barf glitters. Usually
No.
it's
It's
biomatter.
yeah, dark, icky looking biomatter.
But Caleb did start messing with her programming system so she can try to experience the stuff, you
Mhm.
know. But when they heard about the launch, well, there was the launch pad, the club,
Mhm.
and they got this wrong too. In this show, they kind of got this wrong too because Sean pointed out too. Cisco met he got in a bar fight, but it was
Was with a Vulcan
it was with a
from
Vulcan,
Take Me Out to the Holosuite. One of
and
many DS9 episode nods.
oh yeah, and it was good that they had a little callback too with this with Cisco and Vulcan. They say he got into a fist fight in this and stuff. In context and stuff, Cisco said he got into a wrestling match. He told Cassidy
Oh,
he got into a wrestling
right.
match
I
with
yeah,
uh uh
it's a
um
wrestling match,
oh
not a boxing
Solak.
match.
I think his name is Solak. Yeah, Captain Solak of
Solak.
yeah, Captain Solak. And he got in a wrestling match. And Solak wrote all these he wrote papers on he wrote a lot of papers on, humans, and especially using Ben as a thing
Guinea
about
pig.
his thesis and stuff and everything else about, taking shots of like why Vulcan is superior to humans and stuff and everything. But they got that wrong in this particular episode. They said he got punched out at a bar, and Genesis and say, "Oh yeah, I mean about saying yeah, Friday nights, they go there Friday nights and stuff like that after I guess after hours and stuff and everything. But it was called a launch pad, the launching pad, but the name changed in the last 800 years and stuff and everything. So it was
Yeah.
it was the same location but different bar or
The
different club, you could
Academy.
say the academy and stuff and everything. And then when we got to the academy, it was like, oh, this is kind of what they, do in the so-called the 32nd century and stuff. This is how they party and everything else. One thing that got me, and I want to point this out to everybody too, and because we're kind of jumping on a lot of different places, but this is like one thing that stuck out to me. It was pretty crazy. And Sean, now when I watch the Trek culture, Sean pointed this out when they got to the club and Caleb got access to her, programming systems or whatever stuff. One thing that popped up in, I guess, a file, and it was quick, but you have to pause it to see it. For her to experience, what it feel like to be in the party atmosphere, I'm gonna list the names of the things that popped up on screen, and Trek Culture really did a good job at, pointing that out. Alcohol, cannabis, heroin, GHB, morphine, cocaine. Then there are some other ones that is mentioned on there like beer, wine, liquor, vodka, whiskey, gin, rum, mixed drinks, shots, just a lot of little different things, tequila, just a lot of little things. But then what tripped me out was, oh my goodness, her program has heroin, cocaine, morphine for her to experience what it's like for people to be high. I was just dumbfounded that
You
I
see,
seen that part of that.
I got to watch that again on a bigger TV screen because I didn't catch any of that. But
It
it
was
doesn't surprise me.
wild.
But it's like Caleb was just tinkering, which the early tinkering back in the at the academy, the first thing that he did was tweak her hair to Boimler hair.
Yes.
I wrote down Boimler hair, purple hair.
Mhm. Then she
So,
heard
so
some
I,
stuff in her
yeah, yeah.
ears and
Tawny definitely had a hand in that. So it's like, give her Boimler hair.
oh yeah, you could see, there was some stuff that you'd be like, yeah, it was like he was messing around with her program so she can try to experience what he thinks that, will be a good, because we found out too that what's that called? The Cass? Her
Mm,
species, or well, not species, but like her planet, her group, or whatever
yeah,
species
I.
they call themselves, the Cass, the
Mm,
Cass. That's what they call a special guest also
Cassie.
that who made a voice appearance in this episode, not just Stephen Colbert from the Tonight
Mm,
Show, but Julia Taj Ejiofor. He was the leader when she went to, like, how did Sean Ferrick put it like this? If anybody's seen Third Rock from the Sun, and Frank Stewart, who played a communications officer, he always go like this and talk about they had a message from the big giant head. He said she went into the big giant head form, to communicate with her species and stuff. He kind of
mm,
gave that little, like, if you haven't seen, Third Rock from the Sun from from mid to
90s.
like 90s, it was something like that. She talked to the big giant head. I laughed so hard because that was funny. But here's what really tripped me out the most is when she went to the Cisco Museum. Well, she virtually went to the Cisco Museum and stuff and everything. As you can see all the little Easter eggs, because there's an Easter eggs we got to talk about too and stuff, in the show that we hear in a bit. But they would show all kinds of Easter eggs, and there was an box. There was an orb box,
It's
and
not the
you were like,
original or
it,
box, unfortunately.
no, it is not. It is not. All them props and stuff was, sold at Christie auction house and stuff and everything else. A lot of that was in private collectors' hands and stuff and everything. But he said he made a comment that he was like, and then when she opened the box, he said we got a glow in the dark shake weight spinning around in circles and stuff and everything. I was like, that's an orb. He called the orb glow in the dark shake weight. Sean Fair did. I was rolling. He said a glow in the dark shake weight. I laughed so hard when I heard him. compared to the orb as a shake weight and stuff and everything. But he was like,
Yeah,
it was just
I didn't get that vibe off of it, honestly. I mean, it was a great modernization of what the orb looked like, but when it
it,
went dark
it
at the end, I just like, what the
was
what?
suspicious. That was a little suspicious when it went dark because they said it kind of felt back when the power race invaded the um
The Celestial
Celestial
Temple.
10 and stuff and everything else. And then Cisco had to go off to Tyree to retrieve the orb of the emissary, which had his
Hmm.
mom's, presence in it, and she kicked the power race out and stuff. But that particular scene was pretty interesting because we saw a lot of like, we
Sorry.
saw the Niners baseball hat.
Hmm.
The I know it wasn't the original baseball, but they had Cisco baseball. They had, the I don't know if it was the original uniform, but it looked like because it's been worn and stuff. The
I
the
don't remember the original uniform having a pocket on the pants.
I don't
Or
remember
maybe,
that
but
either.
it might have been a tricorder pouch.
But there was a lot of different lightings, and plus they didn't show too much of people below the waist and stuff and everything else. And too, the lighting was really different to see, like the hooks and stuff. So there, in times I have seen, where in good lighting that they show that they did have like little sections on their pants or trousers and stuff where you'd be like, oh, that looked like it's a place for the phaser. Oh, that looked like a little place for tricorder and stuff and everything else. There's a I was wondering about that myself, and I was like, "Hmm." And I don't know, Sean said that they think the still image that we all saw where there's a silhouette where we saw Cisco, but not his face.
Hmm.
And if you remember in Rapture, when that's the first time they used they transfer from the old jumpsuits to uh
The movie
the
uniforms.
first contact uniforms and stuff
Did you say
where
Earth
they showed that,
First Contact?
huh?
Sounds like you said Earth First Contact,
No,
which is
first
kind
no, their first first contact, like their first contact,
of okay.
Starfleet first, first contact and stuff. No, when we saw in Star Trek, basically newer Picard now with the Enterprise E and stuff and everything, that movie style uniform, it was shown the first time we seen that was in Deep Space Nine Rapture.
Hmm.
And if anybody noticed too, they had Cisco com badge on the gray part right here instead of the black part. Sean now pointed out, and I don't know if he did or not and everything else. It looked like too in the image and stuff. They said that they took that from Rapture, but it was on the black thing. I'm like, I think they did it right because if it was on the black, it was right. If it's on the gray, then it means that they did take kind of took that from Rapture stuff. But I don't think they did took that from Rapture because if it's on the black and everything else and stuff. That's another little thing that he was pointing out and stuff and everything. I'm sorry if anybody thinking you know, I'm just pointing out that Trek culture do a lot of little in depth on
I'll say,
each
well,
episode stuff.
the still image I had for the yeah, it's in the black.
Yeah,
It's
so it's not from the Rapture. Yeah,
no,
yeah. They took the image from somewhere else and
another
stuff and
episode.
everything else. Yeah, yeah. So I enjoy that and stuff, but they had a lot of Easter egg, nods to the Defiant, the first Defiant, not the
Hmm.
second one and stuff. In that little Cisco, and they talked about what was it called, the Cisco Creole Kitchen or Creole
Hmm.
restaurant, something
Yeah.
like that. His family's restaurant and stuff and everything else. That was a pretty little interesting nod to that and stuff and everything. But let's talk about. I mean, we get back to it, but let's talk about the somewhat B plot.
Yeah, I was actually just yeah, saying it was right the B plot.
Yeah,
It's like I took a
the
lot
B
of notes on this episode, people.
because when
But
Sam
speaking
was
of people,
talking to the chancellor, that's when we saw when we going to get into the B plot and stuff and everything after she had her talk with Sam.
yeah, and but speaking of B plots, say we still got 8 slots open for people to pop in. Says it's just not the two of us just yammering or flapping our jaws for the entire
Yeah,
time here. And say feel
come
free
and
to
join us.
jump in and say because I got the even the chat's got kind of a little quiet, but yeah,
They
come
just
on
listen to
camera, come
us.
on audio. Yeah, just click the description in the YouTube below saying, yeah, some our regulars aren't here. For say, well, we know where Katie's at. Tyson, I think he was saying he wasn't going to make it tonight. Zach, I mean, there's so this would be a great episode for
And
Zach to get
Phil
involved. Unfortunately,
Phil
he's not
mentioned
here.
that with some of the tragedy, it hit close to home for him with some of the tragedy that happened up in Canada and stuff like that. He said he wasn't feeling very in a very talkative move or anything stuff and everything because
Mm,
he was doing a lot of self reflection and it hit close to home for him. You know,
yeah.
these shootings and stuff and everything else. So you know, we send our best out to Phil and all the people who's been affected by the tragedies in Canada.
Well, but no, going back really quick when Sam did go to the Cisco Museum when she pulled up the hologram recording of Jake, that took me a little off guard. Just like I let out an audible gasp, and then of course it's like Jake made the comment about his dad punching out Q without a second thought.
Mm, he really did. I mean, that really happened. That happened early in the first season, but
Really
at
early
least
in the
now we're
first
trying to
season,
get their foothold on 'em. Yeah.
and then you know, and even yeah, say it's there. Or did I skip a page already? Okay, yeah, that's the next page, so we won't jump too far ahead. But yeah, that B plot of Kelrek boiling a small portion of the ocean, and apparently whatever he's working on is just pulling extra power from the Academy servers and whatnot. Um,
He was like doing that because of the chancellor from another a world academy and stuff and everything else.
no, that the badge was on the gray because if memory serves, the uniform that Avery Brooks was wearing in that first episode was one that was cut for Jonathan Frakes,
Hmm. Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
got different shoulder builds and things like that. So it when Avery put the com badge on, it just totally in a different spot than what it would be if it was Frakes wearing it. That's why, yeah, they had a lot of wardrobe malfunctions on that show because, yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the reverse is true because in Star Trek Generations, the DS9 jumpsuit that Frakes was wearing was designed for Avery Brooks.
Yes. Yes. And
So,
uh Jordy, and you can tell this Jordy LaForge, who was wearing when he got back to the Enterprise, and after he been captured by the Duras sisters and stuff, he wore the jumpsuit. If you notice the sleeves, they were really wide, and they didn't look like they fit him just right. It's because they that was the same uh uniform, well, not uniform, but same costumes and
costume.
uniform, same outfit that Colin Meaney as Chief O'Brien, Miles
Yep.
O'Brien wore. And when you were seeing him, he rose up the sleeves. He rose up the sleeves on his uniform and stuff like that to see like he's more fitting as a hands on maintenance type of engineer and stuff and everything else. And when he wrote them down, they just seemed a little awkward on LeVar Burton and stuff and everything else. So that was another little switch too, like two D Space Nine uh cast members uniform were wore by two TNG cast
Okay.
members.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty neat and stuff. But
Yeah, say
the
they're
the
trying to
but
they were trying to save a few bucks, but it's like, dude, just spend the money and get the right uniform for the right person.
can't you not can't you find a size, size them up, I mean, I understand that Sir Patrick Stewart, he was sized for his uniform.
Hmm.
No, it was nobody. That particular uniform that we see in Generations was sized for him, and then in First Contact, his uniform.
Later, Jim.
Take care, Jim. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you. Come back and see us and all.
And if you get a chance, watch the rest of the episode. We're just at the little north of the 1 hour mark, so you can always pop in and watch the rest later. So later.
Take care. But Sir Patrick Stewart had his, in First Contact. It was tailor made for him in a sense and
Mhm.
stuff like that. It was size and stuff and everything else, you know. I think Avery Brooks did get his after, you know, they, you know, it was they sized him a fitting and stuff and everything
Appropriately,
for
yeah.
for the rest of the series and stuff and everything else. That's why you're seeing in this episode, like when they show, you know, that uniform and stuff and everything, it seemed like very worn and it seemed like it's old and it's worn. It's you could tell it's been worn, you know, worn a lot and everything else. Which I thought it was pretty. It was pretty neat. I was like, did they actually? Because I know a lot of these uniforms, and a lot of these costumes and stuff like that was sold at the Christie auction house in the
Mhm.
2000s after you know the movies and the and
The rap parties.
uh stuff like that was done. A lot of these was sold to in Christie Auction House was the one who you know helps you know sell a lot of these you know types of stuff. But I wonder did whoever bought the uh the outfit that Avery Brooks wore actually loan it back to you know let them you know loan it to to Paramount or you know them for this particular episode. They're like, yeah, I got this, and they reached out to him and say, hey, look, you know, I you know I loan y'all you know and say this is the authentic you know Avery Brooks you know Star Trek uniform from the you know Deep Space Nine because it looked exactly like it because it doesn't look like we seen. Do anybody remember? And yourself, do you ever remember in Picard season one, where we seen Picard on the Enterprise in 10 forward, and Data was with him. He was it was a dream, it was a dream scenario, stuff like that, but he was with Data and stuff. And if anybody looked closely what Data was wearing, he was wearing the first contact uniform, you know, with the gray stuff like that. But if you look closely, it didn't look like the type of you know uniforms that they originally had in the in the movie and in the show and stuff. As some people say, it looked kind of cosplay. The one in that it looked like Brent Spiner was wearing something like kind of cosplay and stuff and everything else. So that's why I'm saying that I was wondering if you know they somehow reached out to whoever bought and purchased the Avery Brooks Benjamin Sisko uniform and say, you know, is there any way we could borrow it for a shop
Mm.
piece in you know one of our episodes and stuff and everything else because like I said, this uniform looked exactly like something that you know Avery Brooks wore. I mean, it was pretty. I mean, it was damn detailed and stuff and everything else. But all
Mm.
in all, I thought it was pretty cool to see. If it's not, then kudos to them. They really had me on it and stuff and everything else. If it
Well,
you know if it wasn't, but if it is, I'm happy to see it once again.
well, if anybody knows, hop in the chat, pop on camera, let us know.
Thank yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and stuff. Oh my goodness, I really too because when they showed Jake Sisko, Sarek, and stuff and everything, it showed what he was, how he became after you know Deep Space Nine, what we leave behind and stuff. And it was like, oh my goodness, you know, he's really taken into this particular part and everything else. And it was like, I love the outfit. I love the blue outfit that Sarek was wearing and stuff and everything else. And you notice the Bajoran earpiece that
Earring.
he was wearing. It
Mhm.
didn't have a chain, but it had like, you know, it was like a clip on and stuff and
Well,
everything else. It was something different.
a lot of the other Bajorans when Sam went to the Bajoran club, they were wearing similar style earrings. So
And that's what they said.
in 800 years, maybe they modified the
They
look.
they
So,
changed, yeah, they changed, yeah, they changed and stuff.
but
Absolutely.
then again, like Jake was wearing the same thing, and it was like the only.
Hey Phil. We were just talking about you a short time ago. Thank you for stopping in.
We
Yeah,
yeah, we were just talking about, yeah, you're being a little overwhelmed. So as I always like to say with Kitty, you need to do you.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, I'm glad you stopped in to say hi, see how things are going and stuff. Wishing you the best and all.
I mean,
But
if you're feeling up to it, you don't have to. Feel free to pop in on the camera and just like share some of your thoughts and of the episode. what you liked, what you didn't like, what could have been done better, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
But
oh yeah.
what
Sam,
what
go ahead.
no, you go ahead first this time.
I was gonna say, seeing Sam drunk as
Mm.
as a photonic,
Oh, the way she
it
just
was
ramped that random say, yeah, just one equals one shot. She's like, it's like 12. And she just
12.
wham, she's on the floor. Mm.
You're gonna be plastered, you know. I mean, it's like even Caleb Faith was like, you don't understand how this works. You don't take 12 shots right then and
At
there
once.
at
You
once and
pace
stuff. I
yourself.
mean, that's called, yeah, it's called pacing yourself, and you can tell, you know, she's learning, you know, she's learning and stuff and everything else. It's like, wow, you were way out there when she
No,
got when she got herself. I wouldn't call it virtually drunk, but like, you know, photonically drunk. That was pretty funny and
yeah,
stuff. But
see,
then she, you know, the whole bar fight too. Who was it to start that bar fight?
it was Sam.
Yeah, yeah, it was Sam.
Yeah,
It
Sam.
was
Well,
Sam.
actually, no, it was no, it was one of the war college girls. She kind of just pushed Sam to the side, and then that just set Sam
The
off and
Romulan,
to the
the
Roman just
Romulan.
decked her, just roundhouse her. When she deserved it, she
Yeah.
absolutely deserved it.
Oh, but
But
back to the B plot. You know. eh,
but yeah, but yeah, going back with the bar fight though, just like
Oh, yeah.
Caleb and Tamir just finally kissing, and
She kissed.
then
Actually, she kissed him in the Venus reflux. If you remember, she
the
ran and
Vitus
kissed him.
reflex, yeah.
Yeah, she
But
kissed him.
this
But this
like
was like,
the first proper kiss. She's just like,
yeah.
she-
And
but
we know what Sam was saying too about, like, you know, the temperature was, you know, rising in his body and every parts and stuff and everything. It's like, yeah, we know he wants to have sex with her. Come on now.
yeah, and just like it's blood flowing in other places, and then back of that scene, the Orion just kind of goes up and sniffs him, and he's like, "Get away from me!"
Because I guess he was secreting, like, I don't know, they can't
Oh
say
yeah, because yeah,
pheromone.
the males are attracted to pheromones.
That's
Lower
right. I
decks.
forgot about that. Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
and Enterprise too. So just like, well, I just talking about pheromones, like, oh frick, that's another deep cut. So especially since Mariner was highly involved in that little debacle.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh,
Oh, that was pretty neat. But the reason why um
well, that just even took
the
takes more
chancellor,
meat because
the chancellor of the war college was
mhm,
heating the parts of the Pacific Ocean. You know, he was trying to, you know, he was basically her security ills. I guess he said her security ills. He was trying to he heated up because her security ills. He's trying to make them more comfortable and stuff. You know, it's like what happened to the chancellor when she's on land? How do the ills work? And that's what even Sean Farrick even pointed out. And they're like, yeah, how does that
yeah,
work
but
when you're heating up the
well,
parts of the Pacific Ocean, but yet, you know, they're going to, you know, be comfortable in that part of the Pacific Ocean. They won't be able to, you know, come to land, you know, come on land.
hmm. But yeah, just that whole B plot with the little horns and the doctor being the doctor and
Mhm.
sorry for
It was something else. Like un, when Chancellor Aki was basically said, "Look, I will help you woo and swoo, you know, um, your guests and stuff and everything else because you know it sounds like it's something that you know might be beneficial for all of us and stuff and everything else, you know." And you know, when they had that little dinners, watching them interact with each other,
mm,
it was pretty interesting. And they had, I swear to it, that fish that they had in the center of their in the center, I swear that looked like something that was from Men in Black 3. it looked like it's something from Man in Black 3. I can't
wouldn't
remember.
put it past me,
Huh?
but it wouldn't put it past me if it's the same prop or similar prop or redecorated prop. But at the end of that thing where it just
Deflated.
I can't replicate the noise. I
It,
should have tried to loop the noise and put it in the chat, but maybe that'll be something for a future episode.
it's like he felt like they were making fun of him. He was
Oh
like,
yeah,
he was trying to take the serious stuff like that, and you know, he said some pretty. Gave some. He said some pretty harsh things to her about like, you left Starfleet for 15 years and other stuff and everything else, and he felt like they was genuinely trying to help him and stuff, but he kind of felt like they was just teasing with him and stuff. And Sean Fair pointed out too that he wished that they will kind of make him more of a backbone, like stern type of, if he's the war college and everything, not the kind of, like I told you backstage. Sean said that he felt like the chancellor of the war college is kind of like um the uh commandant of the police academy in the police academy movies. And anybody who the police academy movies and stuff, Commandant Lesarge, people felt like that
Sarge.
he kind
Yeah,
of feels like Commandant Lesarge from the police academy movies and stuff. He said, I wish they had somebody kind of like, he kind of was like uh Edward Jellicoe, from Chain of Command from TNG and stuff, that not war dog and everything else, but he was strict, firm. He played by the book. He knew what he want. Didn't take no shenanigans and stuff like that. And he said he kind of wished that he wasn't so much of a comedic like kind of guy and stuff and everything. And I could see that too. I could see that. It's like how is this guy the chancellor of the war college, but he don't seem like he doesn't command in so much respect in some ways and stuff and everything. He
well,
seemed kind of
he
boobish.
regimented, I think would be a good word to describe him. Just
Yeah,
very set in his ways. And then Starfleet Academy comes waltzing in. They're all cavalier and loose. It's kind of like the season one finale of Voyager when Neelix is describing Tuvok and the Maquis that he's trying to whip into shape. That say the wet noodle versus the rigid noodle. It's just like,
mhm,
yeah, Tuvok, he's very stiff and regimented, set in his ways when you need to be flexible a lot of times. And saying that, and that's what the Academy is showing. They're being flexible. They're the wet noodle. And Kelrick is kind of taken aback by it, just he's not used to it. And apparently the 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 Vitus plants, I mean, their Vitus reflex plants, they have a gassy stage,
yeah,
and so that's a recurring theme going from previous episodes. That's just yeah, they're still getting rid of it because it's a protected species. They can't just go in with a weed
yeah.
killer and kill them all. Um,
Or a phaser.
that too. Oh, another recurring joke is Krebs talaxian hair flies, or or fur flies. Excuse me, hair flies, fur flies. It's just that yeah, put the poor digital dean of students, which I am pretty convinced that yeah, that there's a sentience involved with that because when one of the next days when say, oh, there's the Muir Forest, there's going to be a hiking adventure if you want to go. Be there at 0600 for some morning wood. Laughs. I mean, oh my God! And the way Colbert, his laugh is like, he's like, it's kind of like Al's. It's like, I kill me.
See the jokes. It's like this show in this particular episode. There was a lot of jokes.
Mm,
The jokes. They was flying all over the place and stuff and everything else.
see,
Just
see,
like the previous episode too. Like master debater.
see,
you know.
see. Well, let me ask you this, and those that are in the chat. Do you think we're going to actually see Krebs by the end of the season? We still got 5 episodes to go. So, or do you think
Yeah,
we're
we're
going to see
halfway
Cribs
through.
by the season finale?
Yeah, let's hear anybody's comments and stuff and everything, and give us y'all intakes and stuff and everything. I'd love to
Well,
hear,
maybe that'll
what
be a
people's.
poll they'll put in on the Discord. Say, will we see Krebs by the season finale? Yes or no?
Oh yeah.
But
Oh goodness, and you can
I
see
think
too.
I wrote another note on here.
Well,
Uh,
let's talk about the because I know in Sean Ferry, like some of the little Easter egg
mhm,
that was presented, on the
mhm,
walls and stuff and everything else, like the Great Barrier from
mhm.
TOS.
Guardian
The
Threat.
Yeah, um uh the subspace divergent field from Star Trek Voyager. If anybody
Hmm.
remember that, where there was two Voyagers, one was damaged and the other one was not. And then everybody thought that the one was damaged was going to be the one that's going to, because two of them couldn't survive. One of them had to go and stuff and everything else. It was like, wow, they really bought that back and everything. And I think too mention of the Omega molecule.
Hmm. Yeah, I read about that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a hot mess of crazy going. But well, I made one additional note on Krebs. Do you think Krebs is a Talaxian? Because he's got this obsession with the Talaxian fur fly. Is he Talaxian? It would make
So
800 years in the future, you'd think that their Talaxians are part of the Federation or were part of the Federation
Trek
before the burn.
Sean Fair pointed this out in Trek culture. Um, they showed an image of, like, different, like, um when Sam was looking through some things. They call them different names, like Ferenginar. They call it Ferengi something. They call them stuff
Hmm.
like that. But they had two of them in two names in there that I was like, duh, I was taken back. Corrosion Prime and um oh shoot, what was those names? Kazon Prime. Corrosion Prime and Kazon Prime. It
Hmm.
was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They Sean Ferrick now pointed this out in Trek culture and stuff and everything else, that there is a apparently there's a planets with Herodians
Hmm.
called Herodian Prime, and then there's a planet called uh the
Kazan Prime.
oh shit, Kazon Prime. Kazon Prime.
You were
And I
getting
was
tired,
just
man.
like, whoa, whoa.
Well,
Yeah.
again, 800 years.
eh. Also, too, here's another little thing too. Shawnee, I didn't pick this up, but I picked this up when Sam was walking through her doing her little monologue thing. She said
Hmm.
in the existence before the Federation, um, before the burn, I guess, or whatever and stuff, the Federation had encountered over 4,633 different species. According to her, it was a total of 37 trillion life forms.
Hmm.
And she mentioned that in her opening thing. Now, I'm just throwing this out there to other people who's watching in the chat and stuff and everything else. So the Federation, that all has documented at least, up until this point, they said 4,633 life forms. Now let's do this little thing real quick with Borg species. How the Borg catalog species that they identify. Some of them they rejected the Kazon. They never assimilated them, but they gave them identification as species 329. But up until like Dark Frontier, we know that the Borg up until the 24th century, they assimilated 10,026 species. I remember species 10026. They never gave them a species name and stuff and everything. But the Borg, up until that point in the 24th century, have identified at least 10,000 species and stuff. Now, um, what what really got me with the board, and correct me if I'm wrong and stuff. So the lower the number, that's the earliest that the board came in contact with different species.
You think?
The Ferengis, apparently the board came in contact with the Ferengis probably very early because their number is 180. And it was like, whoa. So the Borg made contact with the Ferengis at a very early part of, their, you know, I guess early days, and stuff, because it was only the it was like, wow. And then uh a lot of the like Delta Quadrant species have lower numbers, but then the Ferengi are not native to the Delta Quadrant.
Delta
So I
Quadrant,
would I would
yeah.
I would think that they will have a higher number, like humans, Vulcans and humans. The Vulcans have their number is species 3259, and humans are species 5618, which I could see. I could see, them being probably a little higher, but given that number and stuff and everything, but like the Ferengi species, being in such a low number, that's it, from a species being in the alpha quadrant. But needless to say, my point is the Borg have identified in the 24th century over 10,000 different species. And by the what's that? They're in the 32nd century. They said that according to Sam, um, Starfleet, the Federation, have identified just over 4,000 of 4,600. We say 4,600. 4,633 species of stuff and everything. It's like that's pretty interesting to know that many, that many numbers that Starfleet has identified, regardless of them being like people that look like you and me and stuff like that, or like the Calamarain, who were a form of their species, but they was like a cloud form and stuff and everything, trying to get Q. But I always thought that when they say that, I always thought back to how the Borg had. Well, of course, the Borg had much uh very detail of different species and stuff and everything else, and very apparently they was very biased at like of who they wanted to assimilate. They rejected the Kazon because they say the Kazon were inferior and they had inferior technology and stuff. But by the
Well,
32nd century and stuff, the humans or the Starfleet has, or not Starfleet, but the Federation has, cataloged over 4,000 different species.
you brought up an interesting point, especially with the low identifying number for the Ferengi. It's possible that the first Ferengi vessel fell into one of the transwarp conduit.
That is, you know what? That is a good theory. That is absolutely a good theory. That I like that. I really like that. I was like,
Like, and
they're not
just
native to the Delta Quadrant.
no. No, saying so, yeah,
Yeah,
180, and saying, yeah, it's possible, yeah, just a bunch of transwarp conduits that some species just fell into a suction void or whatever. They went into an aperture instead of uh, whatever the opposite aperture is. My brain's not wanting a brain on that right now. Um,
it's all good. We're coming at the bottom of the hour and stuff, and
yeah, well, I say that's the old 90-minute format. We still got a couple of things to talk about on the episode. But yeah, since it's just the two of us, it just like it just come on, people, come say hi. But you're kind of talking about the well, yeah, we already talked about that lovely noise that the
that fish
Cometa
may.
fish, the Cometa fish, yeah, just like the air that noise that you intentionally make the air come out of a balloon, just like
Sean Ferrick described it as almost like a whoopee cushion,
whoopee cushion.
like
It's
a
kind of
deflated
ish.
whoopee cushion and stuff.
Yeah, the same aspect, but yeah, I just remember just the you blow up the balloon and then you just pinch it, just that
Yes,
right
yes,
little,
yes.
and of course, it goes right back to the Federation officers just being just cracking jokes, making fun of it and stuff because
That's what
I
Kelrick.
even Reno is just like, I'm not doing this, and the doctor's just trying to be, come on, just do it, do it, do it, do it, do
And
something.
Kelrick, he was
Which
very annoyed.
I mean, after the bar fight, of course, the doctor's being the mother hen that he is, and just kind of telling everybody to get the heck out, but had Sam stay behind. And I actually wrote down what he said. Let's see. See, I put a big old. Let's see, get the camera to zoom in on a
Focus.
big old freaking asterisk next to it that marked it as the big moment of the episode. And just because I mean, because Sam was just saying that she's doing this for research. She's trying to figure this what happened with Cisco, what happened with Jake, and
Because
she just
he was the emissary. It was about him being the emissary, and she was like, I'm an emissary for my people as well and stuff and everything. And she started self-identifying with, Cisco, but to me, she wouldn't. To me, it's like you're going to go on this journey, but you're not going to really understand, you know, the the responsibility, the level of, what how Benjamin Sisko came to be. You
mhm,
know, you're not going to understand the emotions, the anything like that, or like, what the transcendence of what people, well, say the Bajorans believe that he became and stuff and everything else, what he meant to them and stuff, and what he was like, what he wanted to accomplish and stuff and everything
mhm,
else. Like they mentioned the Kendrick Valley where he was wanted to build a house,
yeah,
marrying Cassidy Yates, and
mm-hmm.
the prophets basically said, if you marry her, all you're gonna know is sorrow.
Say sorry, I just got a really bad itch in both my ears tonight.
Say what?
I have a really bad itch in both of my ears tonight. I don't know if there's
Oh,
that's like some sort of something going on, but but with the episode itself, saying that the doc was just like looking at Sam, are you intoxicated? And that's when Caleb just dials it back to zero. Say, I'm better. And say, what was she craving? She was craving a certain food after the hangover was
uh,
over. Was it a burger or
you said, oh, that's a good. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. What was she
I
craving?
forgot to write that part down. But she the doctor was singing praises of Jake's writing skills and whatnot, and said that he did meet he didn't meet Cisco, his creator Dr. Zimmerman did, Dr. Bashir,
I
I
like,
presume. I
I,
love
I
that.
like that dodge.
Yeah,
I like that
another
dodge.
DS9 episode nod, but when Sam asked how could Jake bear to lose his father the way that he did, and the doctor just became ice cold. And he's just like the same way we learn to live with a loss, get over it and move on. I was like, what the fudge? I saying so. I mean, obviously there's some trauma from just that one line that I want to learn more about. Saying obviously is he talking about someone from Voyager? Was he talking about Captain Janeway? Was he talking about Seven? Was he talking about maybe another human being that or another individual that he fell in love with that he got to witness grow old and die? And saying something just really clicked. Um,
He wanted a burrito. That's what
Burrito. Why?
she
Yes.
was craving a burrito. Yeah.
Burrito. Um, but yeah, we're kind of wrapping up
Um,
here, Phil. So maybe if you still want to hop on, that's cool. Just say hi.
yeah.
But yeah, see, I watched it the second half this afternoon. Excuse me.
I wanted to say
Long day.
this. Sean Fair pointed out what you were just saying about that. Sean Fair pointed out too, the reason
There
behind
we go.
um Hey, Phil.
Hey, hey, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm all right. I'm doing okay.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you was able to join us for the short time that we're going to be on and everything
Tail
else.
end.
You caught this particular episode, did you?
Yeah, I was. That's what I was just saying. I thought I better put this up before I come up. I did watch it last week. Unfortunately, I watched it a bit late, and I kept nodding off. And
Oh
so I
yeah.
said I'll have to
Yes,
rewatch
it
it. And
was.
it's been a busy week, and I just haven't been able to. So unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of stuff you're talking about. It's like I sort of remember some of that, but not all of it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I watched it yesterday, and then for my little note taking and stuff, I watched Trek Culture today, so I could be like, oh yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
remember
okay.
that
Yeah.
game and stuff like that and everything. So that's my little
I should
way
have.
of like remembering, like
That would
few
have been a
hours
good
before
idea.
we go live
Yeah.
and stuff and everything. But yeah, but just a little bit what you remember, and how was your impression on this particular episode, if you can
I
remember?
so
Yeah,
it, again, I thought it wasn't bad. I don't think it was as good as the previous weeks, but I still
yeah.
um, thought it was little better than before that. So I kind of getting an idea where I think they're going with it now. So I kind of appreciate it for that level. They kind of this was going to be about Sam characters. Yeah, Sam, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, Sam.
So, okay, the previous week it was the Klingon. So
Hmm.
now I know there's what 10 episodes. I know they're going to be probably getting around to everybody, but
Yeah.
we're going to get some little character bios in there, and then they'll probably have like a big finish. So, but yeah, I thought it was good to give her a little bit of character and what she was trying to do, and it kind of established a
Yeah,
little bit more about who
character
she was.
character
Yeah,
development,
yeah.
growth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's what they call photonic, and we got the name
Mm.
too. I don't know if they said it before, but her people or her planet is called Cass, something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Cask.
Do you know what it made me think of? I caught a quick vibe off of this when she was talking to them. Don't know why this popped into my head, but it was like I went, "Oh my god, this is Mork and Mindy."
Oh yes, I
Remember
never
when he
thought
would
about
show up at
that.
the end and talk to the mysterious voice, and it would be like I don't know why that suddenly kind of threw into my head when it was
Morgan Mindy. I never even thought of that. Like I watched
like
Trek
so
Culture.
old. But
Sean Ferret could talk. He basically said it's almost like French Stewart when he was playing on the TV show called Third Rock from the Sun. He was the communications officer, and he go
oh
when they
yeah,
communicate with the big giant head, he would go all this crazy thing and
that,
just started
yeah,
communicating and stuff. And he says,
yeah.
yeah, he's
All
communicating
about
with the
that.
big giant head.
And then
Yeah.
if memory serves, the big giant head ended up being played by Bill Shatner, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
He was a big
God.
giant head.
Yeah, I forgot all
He
about
was,
that.
Yeah,
but
that
there was
just
somebody. But there was
Katie probably just
somebody.
stopped watching if she's watching this right now.
Oh,
There was an individual that was, I think, his boss. It was the big giant butt.
oh,
For some reason, it was the big giant butt. I
that.
think that I
Oh,
remember. Somebody correct me if I'm
yeah.
wrong, but the big giant head, the big
Oh,
giant
God.
butt. Dylan. But yeah. So, what was your take too when you seen Sam's little trek through the Deep Space Nine? You know what happened to Benjamin Sisko, and the little Easter, like little Easter eggs and stuff, and everything else. And
Yeah,
then start seeing, you know, go ahead.
as soon as it started, I thought, okay, yeah, this is definitely going to be. There's going to be tons of Easter eggs in this. We'll see which ones I can kind of pick up and which ones I don't. I kind of just ended up sort of watching. I guess again because I was tired and I kind of was having a hard time focusing. I'll have to go back and just rewatch it again. But I knew there was going to be little Easter eggs. I knew. I honestly thought I wasn't sure, and I thought I was wondering if Avery Brooks was going to show up by the end of it, make a little cameo at the very very end, and he didn't. They just kind of had his speech at the end. They did have a son, which I
Oh,
thought was a nice touch.
there's more.
So, oh, is there? Oh,
There's more.
did I miss
Yes.
something?
You may have missed something. I'm gonna wait till the end to see if you
Oh
guys
God,
picked up on
okay.
it or not.
Do I still have it? Did I save it? I have to download it. So But I'll have to look for it. There was something after the credits. Maybe I missed it then, and I thought, oh no. So
No,
I
there's nothing post credits. It was just the well, it was the Deep Space Nine theme with
okay,
the
yes, I do
Easter
remember
egg at
that
the
the
end.
Deep Space Nine theme, and I do know that he had his little monologue at the end that they gave. I don't know if
Which
that
was
was
from which is from a poetry or something
so.
that
It is from an
he wrote
episode.
back in
I was
'07.
wondering.
No, it wasn't from an episode. It was from something that Avery Brooks himself recorded, and
Oh,
it was lifted off of that, but it just seemed to fit this episode
right.
perfectly. And Tawny and Sirach, they got Avery's blessing on it, and saying so.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't something new that was recorded, it was something that was recorded.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was one.
Oh,
That was the first thought I was thinking when I was watching the end of this episode. Say, did he come out of retirement to record this? I didn't know at the time that it was something that he recorded almost 20 years ago. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It, in this particular episode, it really, for a lot of us who are older Star Trek, fans and
yeah.
stuff,
Uh,
they brought back a lot of, like, like we were saying, like Easter eggs and stuff and
hmm.
everything, and he was trying to, like, oh my goodness, they really did, oh goodness and stuff, and they was like throwing Easter eggs at us, stuff like that, and even then they even had TOS reference, the Guardians of Forever.
Oh God, yes, I forgot about that. Yes, jeez, I forgot all about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there,
Ah,
there's another one. I won't spoil it just yet.
okay.
But
No.
Uh, to
but
it showed that, like you were saying too, we got an understanding of what they're going with, because they are kids, and they are exploring. They're in school academy and stuff.
Hmm.
They are discovering a lot. And anybody notice too that in the 32nd century there are a lot of interspecies, not mating, but like there's a lot of different
hybrids.
species, like hybrids. I mean, you look and stuff, you'd be like,
Oh,
"What species is this?" And then you'd be like, "Oh my god, half Klingon, half Tellarite, half Klingon, half Jem'Hadar, a Cardassian that is mixed with something else,
Krill.
Trail. We got Lanthanites who live for a long while and stuff. You got, like,
With
it's like,
humans, yeah.
it's you got a lot of convoluted, species that at one point they were mortal enemies. Yeah, more they were mortal enemies, but yet we see a lot of, like, different. I mean, we thought the Charons were extinct. Here they
hmm.
are. In
And
the
they were in this episode too. Again,
30.
so same actors, different actor.
Oh,
It's crazy seeing that and everything else, but we understand too. Like Sean Fair on Trek Culture pointed out, he was like, he kind of like, I don't know if you heard me earlier. He said, he felt like, I'm not sure if you're aware of this show, but he said he kind of felt like this kind of episode felt like an iCarly, like an
oh, all right.
iCarly
Yeah.
episode. And he
Yeah,
was like, it
Okay.
just felt.
yeah. As soon as he mentioned iCarly, it's like, yep, total iCarly vibes with the beginning of the
Yeah.
episode. Wait, you weren't here at the beginning of the episode, Phil, but did you catch, as I like to refer to, the gay Kelpian at the very start of the episode?
Gay Kelpian.
No, I must have missed that. No.
Yeah, it's right there at the beginning, and I'd say
Yeah, okay.
Travis point it suggested it's very Jack McFarlane, just kind of like grasping the chest and just like, oh my god, yes,
Oh,
yeah,
From
just
Will and
yeah,
shit, I
Grace.
but
don't
no, it's a
remember.
Kelpian, just kind of like.
From Will and Grace. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like I said, it's got that teenage, like that teenage. You could tell this episode is kind of like, they're coming of age, figuring out,
Right.
themselves, just different things and stuff. I mean, I ain't saying that they're all running around horny and stuff and everything else, but you could tell, some of them are, they are into each other. So some of them,
Mm.
showing that they are, that they wanting, you know, that you like could see you as a pair. That's a little different,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you never
Jaden,
know.
yeah, Jaden and Kyle though that I didn't really see that one coming, but like, yeah, Jaden's wearing a
Or
skirt.
what's that? Dameron? Dameron was jealous in the bar. He kind
Yeah,
of was throwing. He was kind of throwing jealousy vibes off. Like, come on, we get ready to go. We don't need stuff like that. It was like, whoa. I'm like, dude. I'm like, am I sensing some like tension that you don't want
well,
him to be fooling around with the
see,
war
I didn't
college?
mention it. I didn't mention it earlier, but you didn't mention it yet either. The drag queen bartender.
Sean
You might
said
have
Sean Fair
Oh,
met that individual, and that individual is a big fan of Star Trek.
right on.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you
Sean
must have
Fair
nodded
said
off during that part, Phil, when they were at the bar.
yeah. I
yeah.
feel
She said,
yeah. I
"Everybody's
enjoy him a lot.
have a drink, get along, have a shot."
When I feel like I probably did see it, and it's just not coming back to me. But yeah, I'll have to have a look at
Yeah,
this
say
episode.
because this
Yeah.
episode triggered so many conservatives, so many, and I love it.
Oh,
I,
the
Yeah.
whole show, the whole show. Oh man, I mean, if the Super Bowl halftime show wasn't just, if it wasn't so triggering for them, this whole
oh boy,
series is
this whole
just
week
this.
has been triggering.
It's been nonstop with a Klingon wearing a skirt. Let's talk about that. They nobody say what they with the Klingon is wearing a
Oh, there
skirt.
was a brief moment. Yeah.
It's like a warrior, stuff. But yeah, like and subscribe to our channel, guys.
And remember,
Do you remember?
the new code for get 10% off through Technically Trek is warp me. I wanted to use engage, but someone beat me to the punch on that one. So I say warp me was the next thing that popped in
I
my
know
head.
that I know the show is really getting attacked. Like it's really fighting now, and in the ratings and reviews, and
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah, if you get a chance, go to IMDb and give it a positive review. It's like let's get those
You
haters,
if you
get
like
yeah.
those
if
reviews
you have
jumping.
constructive criticism about the show, you know, I would urge you, do constructive criticism. Don't just do something offhand or just be like, oh, I just don't like the show because
Mhm.
it just makes no sense to me and stuff and everything else. Find something constructive of saying why you dislike it, with it being, reasonable and stuff like that. Just don't come off saying, oh, I just hate this show and I can't believe they did this to Star Trek or any other stuff like that. I may have my bias because I prefer older Trek because I come
Mhm.
from, I'm
Yes.
47. I come from the TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine, the 90s and stuff and everything else. The newer Trek, is more so for people who are in the last 20, 25 years and stuff and everything, who was born in the last 20 to 25 years and stuff.
Yeah, post nine
But,
eleven.
yeah. So
Yeah.
most of us, like us and everything else, we can appreciate stuff, but yet we can have our constructive criticism without it being total detriment to the Star Trek brand as a whole and stuff and everything else. I mean, yeah, there are conservatives who watch Star Trek and stuff like that. They are not too fond. I mean, hell, not to get off track. I'm not gonna get totally off track, but
Mhm.
it's still within what we're talking about. The episode in Deep Space Nine, if anybody remembers, where I think it was season 4, where Dax met one of her former uh love interests,
Narcon
Oh.
rejoined.
Lenarcon. Yeah,
We
yeah,
talked about that one a couple of months ago. Yep. Well,
yeah, yeah. And
ages ago it seems like. Ah,
and they share the first same-sex kiss in Star Trek. And
Oh.
mhm.
All
I didn't
right.
know at the time. I didn't know at the time, but it was triggering. There were stations around the United States that did not air it. There was stuff. It was controversial, and stuff and
Mm.
everything because they showed two women kissing, you know. But for more people who are thinking, you know what? it's TV, it's Star Trek. People didn't think too much about it. They didn't bat an eye about it and stuff. But there are people who, you know, and now they look back and I don't know if those same people still look at that particular episode and they have a change of heart. Who knows? It takes time to have a change of heart.
No, but two things later in the episode after all that we were discussing. That has got to be the biggest and the slowest turbo lift I have seen to date in all of
Oh
Star
my
Trek.
goodness.
And
Right?
that was a small living room for a turbo lift. I mean, it's had a couch and it's even not just a couch, like a sectional
Missed
couch
that
because
one.
there's like the entire corner and saying, and of course, Ake, she was just in there barefoot because I guess that's a last night thing to do. But
I'm always thinking you walk around barefoot. How often do you wash your feet? Because
mm,
they walk outside. They walk. They went to the to what's it? What's the club called again, Dave? The Academy.
sorry, the Academy, yep.
Yeah, they walk around stuff like that. They walk into those things and stuff like that. They walk through the corridors. They walk around. They wear boots and stuff, their shoes and whatnot. They track things from inside. And you don't think that stuff like that, like I mean, you walk outside, things on the ground are dirty. Even in a even in the 32nd century, there are still
Hmm.
dirty streets and stuff and everything else.
Miniature force
I mean,
fields, miniature force fields for the feet, force field slippers.
sonic showers for your feet or something. I don't know, for your boots or something and everything else. But you could tell she is a very relaxed person, and the students and stuff and everything. And too, I don't know if you called it Phil, but the teacher. Because I kept wondering throughout. I was like, she looks so
Yeah, because
familiar.
well, yeah,
That
Tawny
Oh,
teacher,
Newsome,
what's her name again? Before
Aaliyah,
you learned it was Dax.
well, I
Aaliyah.
know the one veiled herself to
Ilya.
be Dax at the end, but I don't remember. I don't know who she is.
Ilya is a yeah, is played by Tawny Newsome.
Have you seen Lower Decks?
Oh, well, yeah, we watched Lower Decks.
Yeah, Mariner,
The
Beckett Mariner.
character Mariner, she
Oh,
was the voice. She's the voice
oh
of
God.
Mariner.
Okay, no, I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah,
even pick
but
up on
yeah,
that.
She's the voice actor.
yeah, but going back to the episode, she
Yeah.
definitely muted her voice. Definitely had a different carried herself differently, different
Tone. Yeah.
mannerisms, so it wasn't as easy to pick up because I didn't pick it up at first until someone said, "That's Tawny Newsome." And I was like, "Holy crap, it is!"
Yeah.
But
No, would not
as
have
the
picked up on
episode
that.
progressed, you could see more and more of a little bit more Mariner coming out of her in her voice inflections a little
Mhm.
bit. But yeah, like at the end of the episode, she just casually just brushed her hair up behind the ear, and you could see trill spots, and like,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, holy fuck! And it's just like it's like Ilya's not surname, is it? It's just like Ilya Daxon, like,
I was like, what? What? And listen at this to everybody who listens to stuff and everything else. The Dax symbiote. The Dax symbiote was born in the year 2018. So if you can remember how old
Oh,
you were in 2018, the Dax symbiote in Star Trek time up into the 32nd century, I told Dave this backstage, was 1,177 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And
something like that.
wow, wow, the Dax symbiote was born in 2018. I was
not
just
too
39 years old. I was 39 years old. If you could say like, oh, I was born with
49.
the
Yeah.
Dax symbiote and stuff and everything else, and the Dax
Right.
symbiote is over 1,000 years old. The symbiote, not the host, but the symbiote.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the slug.
The slug.
Because I see, because I forget how long it takes before they actually first implant it into
Mhm.
a body, but I think it takes a little bit of time. Actually, duh, it just kind of Oh, come on, let's
Yeah,
see
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So the next episode is after midnight tonight, I think. Is it drop tonight
Yes,
or tomorrow?
the midnight Pacific time. So yeah, so 4 hours from
Right.
now.
Okay, all right.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, a little over four
For
hours
me,
it'll
it'll be a
air.
little over 1, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
so
probably
no,
won't watch it
so it's
until next Tuesday.
I'll
midnight
probably watch
Pacific,
it.
so 3 Eastern. Say, but I am.
Okay. All right.
Me
Yeah.
and Dave,
Morning.
season 3 Picard. Me and Dave, Phil,
Hmm.
we used to like literally
We
wait,
stayed up.
like maybe we stayed up and we waited until like probably my time. It was 3 o'clock my time. Lucky
Hmm.
I didn't have to go to work until 2 o'clock, around between 2 and 3 in the afternoon.
Hmm.
But I stayed up and then we would be on the phone together
Oh
Within
wow.
and
minutes of
like
it airing.
we would wait about 10 minutes just so we can make sure that everything is synced up and stuff. But we was
Oh,
kind
that's
of
funny.
sometimes think
Yeah.
sometimes synced up, but we was just a little. I was a little bit ahead. I used to watch.
Mhm.
I watched it on my TV. They had his tablet,
Yep,
Oh yeah.
and,
my little 8-inch
and
tablet.
there were things on there. I said to Dave. I said out loud. Dave was like, "What?" It did. A few seconds later, oh my goodness! I was like, "Sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to spoil it for you, but yeah, I see something that came, that popped up and everything else, and it was one of the little
Uh,
cool things for
what
me and
what
him.
was this for
We,
again?
we watched it, huh?
What was this for again?
Season 3 Picard.
Season
Oh,
3 covered
season 3 Picard. Okay, all right,
3 years ago. Three years ago,
Jeez. Oh,
Three years
we
ago
had it
next
synced
week,
up.
I think,
wow.
is when it started airing. So
Oh,
Yeah.
we didn't miss the episode and stuff and everything. And then I was on the phone with Dave. I was on the phone because after you got, we started, we talked a little bit about it, but I was on the phone with Dave and I commented on Twitter
Mm.
and I said something because it was the ninth episode and it was where they revealed that the Enterprise D is back. And
Oh, okay.
I was telling Dave, I got tears in my eye. I said, I can't really believe I got tears in my eye. I was tweeted out. So I tweeted out something like within minutes of watching it and stuff. I tweeted something out and I got a like on it. I got a couple of likes, but I got a like from somebody that I never would guess liked my tweet.
Hmm.
It was the showrunner for season 3,
Oh,
Terry
wow.
Matalis.
Holy shit.
he liked one of my posts as well. So it's just like you're not the only one.
See, yeah,
Jeremy
Dave
Lyons
did.
liked a couple of my tweets too. So
I
Gee.
was dumbfounded. Because I said I have tears in my eye. I didn't even like like tagged him or anything and stuff like that. I said something about Star Trek. I tagged something about Star Trek or something about
Mhm.
season 3 Picard or whatever episode, something. But it was something that he liked, and then they told me something. I'm like, oh my goodness, he really paid attention to us. Well, fans, he paid attention to fans and stuff and everything else. I can't believe that he within a few minutes of me tweeting that he liked it and stuff, and I was just like, oh my goodness, Dave, I got tears in my eye because I seen the Enterprise D, and all of it was just so emotional and stuff and everything else because I was like,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not an emotional person. Yeah, I wasn't an emotional person, but I was like, Dave, I can't believe I had some tears in my eye. You know, it was a one, but that's what me and Dave did for like what you see now in Starfleet Academy and stuff and everything else. Because I said, Dave, we got to watch this together, even though we're in different parts of the country. I said, I got to watch this with a friend who will appreciate what I'm watching too.
I think we watched. Yeah, like I said, we watched all 10 episodes. But yeah,
Yeah.
We really did.
but yeah, we're coming up on 2 hours now. So there's two big things that I've kind of teased about earlier. One a
Yes.
while back, and say because at the beginning of the episode we had Sam playing the theremin, but at the end of the
Hmm.
episode she's playing a very familiar tune on the theremin.
And what was that familiar to me?
Oh shit.
The original Star Trek theme.
I did not catch that.
and she was
Oh
totally
shit!
playing. She was totally freaking playing it. I didn't catch it the first time, but when I watched
Yeah.
it again this afternoon, it's like, holy crap! Yeah,
Yeah.
she's totally
Yeah.
playing it. And she's just doing her monologue, and it's played, and she is totally playing the Alexander Courage Star Trek theme.
Okay. Okay.
I don't even think Strange New Pod picked up on that.
I
I'll have to
didn't even think.
watch that their episode again to see if they picked up on
Yeah.
that or not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did pull up the screen green for it. I'm not going to have it on here long because apparently Paramount's being a little nitpicky with podcasts and stuff like that. But Avery Brooks did briefly make an appearance in this episode, ever so briefly, ever so subtly
Oh.
in the clouds.
Yes, I can't believe that. Oh, I missed that. I missed that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's there. And when Sam's like, I hope you're up there. I hope you're looking down on us. And sure enough, he is.
Yeah.
And then it cut to the thank you, Avery.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
yeah. But we are coming up on the back half of the first season already, and it's gonna be a
Yeah.
doozy. Going out on an away mission. I mean, hence the name of the episode. Is say, come, let's away. And say it's
I
a
suspect now that
hmm?
it's
Let's
going to probably
away.
get a little bit more. It's going to get a little bit more serious. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
some. I don't. I'm not. I'm just throwing this out there. Nobody, you know, attack me or anything stuff like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of the cast member might get. You know,
Oh, yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of injuries and possible death coming along. Hopefully it's not someone we care about or got attached to because
it's
right
always gonna be somebody that people like. One of the characters and one of them something like that. Something like that. Somebody may get
hopefully it's not
axed.
Kyle.
Oh, from the War College.
It's going to be so it's going to be if it's going to be someone it's going to be someone from the War College.
Uh,
Tamira, hopefully not. Um, that Romulan. I want to cry if she bit the dust, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's gonna be some serious. There's gonna be some serious stuff because all this like it seemed very happy and glitzy and stuff and everything, but it's like no. There's what's his name? The half Klingon, half Tellarite. Uh,
Brosnuk or that's Paul
Brasnaka.
Giamatti's character.
Paul
Brosnaka, yeah.
Giamatti. Brasnaka.
Yes,
And
no, hold
to
on,
me,
let me
I say this. I think the big bad is Caleb's mom. I think he is working for
no.
her.
Oh, you
I
know,
think he's probably working for her. I think he's
ooh,
working for her.
wouldn't that
News
be?
Braka,
Oh.
News Braka, that's his name.
Yeah.
Newsbrocker. And I
Yeah,
think he's
same.
working for her.
Yeah, they're off on a training mission. They're studying an abandoned ship, but as they're in a fight for their survival, and uh, Captain Ake must reach out to an trustworthy source for assistance. And I was like, is that going to be Braca? But based on the teaser, which we all know that Katie hates the teaser trailers, and say that he seems like really like hell bent on causing havoc for the
Mm,
Starfleet crew. Which by the way, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't notice this until I saw a promo image for next week's episode. The left half, the side of the cadet uniforms is the Delta Shield in the color of whatever division that they're in. See, I never noticed it. Then I
I
noticed it
never
in
thought
some.
about
Yeah, see, I don't have a still image. Well, actually, kind of do on this one. Well, actually, no, it's not a good one because her arm's in the way. But yeah, the left when you look at some of the still images, yeah, you can still you see the Starfleet Delta logo on one side of their uniform. They're using that delta almost too much in this show. Because
But
like with the opening credits with like the skylights and the things, it's all over the place. There is a thing called overkill.
yeah, yeah,
I say
absolutely.
that's probably just like on the production side of things, that's probably just like for me personally, but I might be in the minority on that. The saying the chat's gone pretty quiet, so even though we've got 30 people in watching live right now, so thank you
Wow,
all. To
that's
say
still good.
as I've mentioned before, like and subscribe down below so you know. I say I am gonna once things a certain level of normalcy comes back into my life, I'm gonna start doing little live clips and things again, little teasers and
Yeah.
whatnot as time goes on as this show is getting an inch closer to 100 episodes of the reboot of Technically Trek, who used to be DTX ratings way back in the day.
It's a way back in the day. Yeah,
Really?
Way
yeah.
back over 4 years now.
Uh,
They're still going strong. They say we just need to get more subscribers. So the more subscribers we get, the more better stuff we can get out there. And
mm,
Discord link down below. Sign up. Then that way you can put in some of your thoughts and opinions to episodes. We have a meme channel. You can share fun stuff. Star Trek, non-Star Trek related, whatever floats your boat, as long as it's not too grotesque. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us tonight, unless
okay.
either of you have any closing thoughts.
Phil, you have
No,
any
I'm
closing?
I'm I'm good for tonight. I probably try and rewatch that episode again, but for me, I'll try and do it
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
before I watch the
yeah,
new one. So
with what you've been going through the last couple of days,
yeah,
yeah, you need to turn your brain off for an hour.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what I say about
Absolutely,
this new
absolutely.
show because it does hover around that 60-minute mark
Mm,
for the episodes. So yeah, probably going
Absolutely.
to end up have rewatching
yeah,
the first
yeah.
episode here since there's first time I watched it, my attention might not have been at 100% on that one, but overall this was a good episode. It's going to be interesting to see how if Sam still continues to butt heads with her superiors, or if she's gonna just completely break off and be her own person. They order her back, and she's like, "Screw you, I'm staying. I don't care," um, and just kind of take it from there because they didn't like the way that she disconnected the conversation at the end of the episode there one
Well, you
bit.
know what? Real quick before I go, and this is the one thing that I'm gonna leave with people and stuff. If anybody's seen the Orville, there is a robotic species called the Kalons,
Mm,
and the Kalons sent an emissary or an ambassador and stuff like that to the Union, like Starfleet and stuff, and he's supposed to report to his people on all the basically the organics, how organics behave, this, that, and everything else. It's almost something like what to me, I kind of felt like it's almost something like what Sam was, charged with. Her
A little
task
bit,
was
yeah,
to
because they're
be like, that emissary and stuff and everything else, like the emissary, but like almost like what Isaac was like in the Orville and stuff. And it's like how there is so much to divulge, but yet what they're asking for is yeah, for Sean Ferrick now put it in a sense, it's more nuanced than what they really asking, what her people were asking for and stuff and everything. It's just not this one thing they can. It's with mathematics and numbers and stuff like that. It's something that's tangible that they can't understand, and it's gonna be patient before she can try to divulge that information and stuff. Something that is tangible and stuff. But
okay.
that's for another discussion.
well,
Yeah.
that
Mm,
just put my brain down in a rabbit hole, wondering if they're going to do something similar with this show because they're saying that the Caskins they essentially they broke themselves away from organics because of the the trauma and the subjugation that they put their species through, so they just kind of like broke off and became their own thing. But then they send Sam to say, have they changed? Are they going to be a big bad in season 2 maybe?
See, see. I mean, that's something I leave everybody with, and all and everything else. That's about much as what I want to say for right now and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I hope anybody has some alternative theories and stuff, but
Happier
we'd love to hear
thoughts.
y'all thoughts. You know.
All right. Until next week, people, may Spock be with you. Hailing frequencies are now closed.